Hey everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review. And today's review is in association with Tformers.com, your #1 news source for everything Transformers. And for today's review, we're going to take a look at the newly released Transformers masterpiece, Cybertron Warrior Tracks from Takara Tomy. Now this toy comes packaged in the same style of packaging we've seen with the other masterpieces from Takara. You've got the Transformers masterpiece logo up in the top corner. We also have the logo for Chevy Corvette, since this is officially licensed by Chevrolet, and then you have a look at the toy in both vehicle and robot modes. Down below it tells us that Trax is a Chevy Corvette Stingray C3 and that this is the 25th masterpiece released in the line, and then again gives us the name of the character and then some writing that I can't really read. On the back of the packaging we have some images of the toy showing off the various features and accessories, and then again more writing that I can't really read. Okay, so let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at Trax outside of the packaging. Now when you first get him out of the box, he is in his car mode. This one has 3 different modes. He's got his regular car mode, his flying car mode, and his robot mode. You get the instruction sheet that shows you how to transform him and how to do all the features and everything. And then you also get the bio card that has the artwork on the front and then the stats with a bunch of writing that you can't really read on the back. Besides the car itself, he does have the side view mirrors that you have to attach. That's probably the first thing you'll want to do when you get it open. He comes with 2 different sets of these. Now on mine at least, they don't actually fit very tightly in there, so you want to be very careful because they'll have a tendency to fall out. But you got these little holes on the side and you just slide them in. I'll put mine on. I probably won't leave these on normally, just because again they just have a tendency to fall out so easily. But we'll put them on for the review. So the overall detail on the car I think is really nice. It does look like a Chevy Corvette Stingray. Very true to what we saw in the original G1 cartoon and toy. He basically, Trax is all blue, and then he's got the Flame Autobot logo on his hood, and this is painted on, unlike the original toy where it was a sticker. And then he's also got the Autobot logo on his roof with the yellow background. Now I will say that even though I think this is cartoon accurate, I don't really like the yellow background on the Autobot symbol on his roof, at least in car mode. It doesn't really bother me too much in his in his robot mode, but in the vehicle mode I don't really like that yellow background on the Autobot symbol. He's got the Corvette logo sculpted on both the back hood and the front hood, back trunk and the front hood. He's got the lights painted in red, no license plate. The wheels are hard plastic. He does roll good. This one does roll pretty good. The one thing I don't really like is I don't like that they did not tint the windows on this, so you can see pretty much the inside. You can see these kind of silver pegs on the side mirrors, and you can see his head from the front and the missiles in the back. So it would have been nice if they had kind of tinted the windows, kind of like they did with Red Alert. You can see here with Red Alert. So I would have liked if they had tinted the windows a little bit. Otherwise though, I think again the detail on this is really nice. Now you can lift his hood up. You kind of have to use your fingernails to kind of pull it up, but you can see there's some nice sculpting detail with the engine on the inside, so I like that feature. That's pretty nice. He also comes with Raoul. Now Raoul was in I think 2 episodes of the original G1 cartoon. He was a would-be car thief who ends up befriending Trax and helping him and the Autobots stop the Decepticons. Not a lot of detail with this figure. No eyes or anything painted on the face, basic paint applications, and no articulation. But that's pretty typical with what we see with these little mini figures. Scale's pretty good, with Trax. He also comes with a little mini blaster. Again, part of the episode where, that same episode with Raoul. The detail on this is nice. You've got basically silver and red and yellow with some black, and you can even see the Autobot logo, even though this is pretty tiny. They've, nice detailing with the Autobot logo. Not a whole lot of detail on the back. There is this little peg on the back of Blaster. I don't know if this is supposed to be an actual feature, but I've seen some images. There's nothing listed in the instructions or anything, but if you want, you can fit, basically kind of sit Blaster in the inside of Trax. There's this little groove on the inside, and so I don't know, again, if it's really meant to, and it doesn't like fit tightly, so he might come loose if you start moving them around. And it's not really easy to get get this open enough to get him inside. You basically have to start transforming him, which I'll kind of show you in a bit. But again, I've seen some pictures of people doing that. So if you want to sit your blaster inside, you can do that. He is about the same size as the other Autobots. So here he is. Here's a side-by-side comparison with Red Alert. And like with the other Autobots, if you have the MP Prime trailer, you know, he does fit inside pretty good. Pull in there. So again, scale-wise, he works well with the other Autobots in his car mode. Okay, so for the first transformation, we'll transform him into his flying car mode, and this is pretty simple for the most part, at least as far as Masterpiece transformations go. So the first thing you want to do is pull down these wings that are on the bottom. Just kind of pull them down. You can kind of rotate them. Basically, you just want to kind of get them out of the way for right now. So just kind of rotate them out of the way. And then you're going to want to just pull the arms out. The arms are here in the back, and you just want to pull them down and out. And then once you do that, you can kind of lift the back piece up, and you can go on and do that to get it out of the way. And then you want to take the arms and you want to pull them outwards. You want to make sure that these little slide screws are all the way to the out position. And then while you have the back piece open, you can kind of stick your fingers and pop the back wings up. Now I want to note on mine, this one wing is very loose. It doesn't actually stay out very well. It has a tendency to want to fall back in. It just fits loosely, and there's nothing to really catch it on to keep it in place. Now the other one is tight and doesn't have that problem. So I don't know if this is just something with mine or what, but it's kind of annoying because it has a tendency just to fall back down and not really stay up. So just be wary of that. While you back here, you can also go on and flip the wings, rotate them in the right position so that these things on the ends of them are pointing towards the front of the car. And again, you still want to kind of keep them out of the way for right now. And then straighten out the arms. So you want the yellow, these yellow parts of the arm facing upwards, and you want these side pegs facing towards the car. And you want the wheels facing upwards. And then you can just snap things kind of back into place. Of course, that back wing fell back inside, but you get the idea. And then basically there's little holes on the side of the car, and you just want to plug these pegs on the arms into those. And then you can rotate the wings so that they're out. So that's basically it for his car mode now, or his flying car mode, I should say. Now he has a they've given you a flight stand, so basically it comes in two pieces. You've got the base with the Autobot logo on it. It's just black, and then you can plug the stand in. And the stand has 3 points of articulation. So the very tip, and then right here towards the midsection, and then down here at the bottom. And it kind of clicks there. So you can get it in multiple flight poses. There's a little hole on the bottom you can see here, so you can just plug that in. And so if you want to pose him in flight mode, you can do that. So the final thing you want to do when you have him in flying car mode is they've provided a little laser cannon that you can attach to his front end. So you can see there's a little groove here, and you want to make sure there's these little pegs that you want to make sure are facing upwards on the cannon. It's pretty small, but and then you just kind of pry it into that groove area, and it'll fit in tightly. So it looks like he's extended out that laser cannon and firing at something. Okay, so now we'll go from flying car mode to robot mode. So you can push these back wings down, and you can remove the front cannon because we won't need that. And then basically what you want to do is you can pull the arms out so they're not attached to the side of the car anymore. And then kind of want to pop this back piece out again. And then once you have it popped out, then you want to just rotate it so that the headlights are now facing towards the front of the vehicle. And then you can move, basically rotate this so that the missiles, his shoulder missiles, or whatever you want to call them, side missiles, are now facing out, and you can kind of just rotate them as such. And we'll adjust those a little bit more as we continue with the transformation. But then you want to you can lift the hood piece up, and you'll see the heads inside there. So you just want to kind of use your fingers to rotate it around. So now that the head is exposed, and then you can kind of just push it back for now. And you can take the hands are rotate out. So basically what you want to do is lift these pieces that are on the front of the arms out, and then you can turn them, you want to turn them sideways. So what you're going to do is you're going to rotate, you can kind of push the hands, and they're just going to rotate around so that this piece slides into this hole as the hand comes around. So now that the hands are exposed on the arms. So at this point you can go on and just kind of break the legs apart. They're attached here, and you can kind of just pull them apart like that. And also at this point what you want to do is these side pieces you want to lift down, the doors basically, and you kind of lift them out as well. And what we're going to end up doing is these pieces are going to come rotate around, and they're going to actually clip in to this back piece here. And so you want to make sure you get those pushed in. So then you can rotate the legs. Now the legs get a little bit tricky, but basically what you want to do is the feet are here, and you kind of want to pull them out, and you're going to end up rotating at the waist. So you're going to want this piece, this white piece, facing forward. It's basically the waist piece. And then you just going to have to turn the legs, and again pull out the feet pieces a little bit, and then these side pieces you will want to kind of pull out as well. And then once you do that, they'll just kind of flip down. And then these pieces on the inner legs you want to rotate around and pull them out so that they're facing towards the front. So you just rotate and then push out. And then you just kind of adjust it, and then once you have it adjusted right, then you want to push back in these side pieces so they should click into place. And that basically forms your legs. Okay, so here's Trax in his robot mode. I've secured all the pieces. You want to make sure that, when you're transforming him, this back piece, you want to make sure kind of clips around his rib cage so it's more secure. I did mention that when we were actually transforming him, but that will make this back piece more secure. Now I've seen various images and stuff have this back piece kind of more at an angle and whatnot, but I like it like this, where it's basically the missiles are straight ahead. I think that looks the best, but you can basically pose the missiles in various directions and stuff however you want. Some people have them pointing upwards. I prefer it like I said, pointing straight ahead. And this piece here also you can kind of move around. I think it looks best when you have the white and red stripe facing forward, but you can actually have the headlights, or you can have it so there's nothing there, And again, I've seen with various pictures and stuff having that posed in different positions. But again, I think it's meant to be so that that yellow and red stripe are facing forward. Overall, from when you're looking at the robot from straight ahead, I think it looks good. From the side, I don't like this back piece. I guess it's supposed to be a backpack or something. It looks a little off. You can kind of see the pieces in the inside. So, it's kind of hollowed out. So I'm not a huge fan of that. But definitely from the front, I think this looks good. Very true to what we saw in the cartoon and everything. Now, one thing I want to note with the Autobot symbol, I had mentioned when we were looking at his car mode how I didn't like this yellow background in his car mode. It doesn't bother me in his robot mode, but one thing I discovered while transforming him is you can actually flip this. So if you want to conceal the Autobot, they don't have, I'd said it would have been cool if you could flip it and if it had a Autobot symbol without the yellow background. So they didn't do that, but they do have it with basically no Autobot symbol. And so in car mode, I think that would actually look better. In robot mode, definitely, I think you want his chest Autobot symbol to be viewed. But I do like that they've given you the option to conceal that. So the last accessory that they've provided with this one is his blaster. So once you have him in robot mode, you can put it in his hand, and it works just like with all the other MPs. It's got the little pegs that stick out on the handle, and then he's got the holes that are in the hands, and so you just plug the gun in, and then you can close the fingers around the gun to make it more secure. And so he can hold it in either hand, and he does hold the gun nice and tight. This one's got a decent amount of movement as far as articulation goes. So, the missiles you can pose in various positions, as I mentioned. The wings you can kind of move in various positions however you want. You can have it more to the side or more at an angle. I think it looks best and where they're kind of up at an angle. The head you can turn to the left and the right, and you can have him kind of look back a little bit. He doesn't really look down. Arms, limited a little bit with the wings, and that shoulder piece kind of moves up and down. So, but he's got pretty good movement there at the arms. You can kind of rotate and turn it and stuff. So, pretty good movement there. He's basically got a single hinged elbow, so he can bend his elbow about that much. He's got swivels on the wrists. No real up or down movement with the hands. He's got rotation at the waist. A lot of these movements are a part of the transformation, but he's got rotation there at the waist. He can get his leg forward pretty good, and he can get it out, and he can do the splits. He can bend his knee pretty good with this one. Really not much in the way of any kind of ankle pivot. You can kind of do the feet forward and backwards, but no real ankle pivot with this one. So in robot mode, he stands, if you count to the top of his backpack thing, he stands about 7.5, maybe just under 7.5 inches tall. He's in pretty good height with the other Autobots. Here he is next to Smokescreen, and he's a little bit taller than Smokescreen, but they're about same size, so pretty good size. And then here he is with Raoul, and pretty good scale-wise here as well. Okay, so that's my review. Overall, I would say out of all the masterpieces that have been released up to this point, this one is probably my least favorite. It's not a bad toy, but just things like I don't really like how he looks from the side, and I don't like that backpack piece in his robot mode. In his car mode, I don't really like how you can see the inner workings, things like those silver tabs on the sides that you can see, and his head from the front. It would have been nice if they had tinted the windows a little bit. And then in his flying car mode, at least on mine, it's very annoying how those little back wings have a tendency to fall in. I do think there are nice things about it. I think the face sculpt looks good. I like the overall look of it from the front, and everything in his robot mode I think looks very true to what we saw in the cartoon and everything. And if you're a fan of tracks, or if you're just wanting to continue to build your Autobot army, I think this is one that you're definitely going to want to add to your collection. So this one is out now. You can pick it up at places like Big Bad Toy Store. We'll have a full gallery of images up at toynewseye.com. There's a link in the description below. Now, real quick, I just want to let you know we are running a contest to give away a $200 store credit for Big Bad Toy Store. So, if you won that, you could definitely pick this one up, not cost you anything. Basically, there are details on how you can be entered to win in our latest episode of T&I Pop Talk. I'll put a link in the description for that video. If you haven't checked it out, please do. We'll be giving away the $200 at the end of the month, so it should come in handy for the holidays. Also, yesterday I did a review for the new DC Collectibles Batman Animated Series Harley Quinn figure, and I had told you guys, or I'd asked you guys if you wanted me to review the Roxy Rocket set that was released this week from DC Collectibles as well. Many of you chimed in and said you did, so I am going to pick that one up and should have a review either maybe tomorrow or this weekend most likely. So be sure to stay tuned for that. So that's it for now. Please leave a comment. Let us know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And until next time, I'll catch you later.